Hey everybody, this is D Hunter, bringing another action figure review. Today, we're going to be looking at the McFarlane DC Multiverse Joker Eyes Batman from Batman The Dark Knight Returns. This is a Target exclusive gold label figure. It's pretty much a short, chunky, fat Joker Eyes Batman, and somehow they still made it look kind of cool. Kind of dumb, but kind of cool. I know a lot of people are very anti these Joker Eyes figures, and I get it. They're visually interesting. They pop on the shelves, but they're utterly pointless. I don't know if I'd get them if I wasn't a completist like I am. So let's take a look at the packaging. As you can see at the top, 22 moving parts, McFarlane toys, age 12 plus, part of the McFarlane Gold Label collection. Gold Label figure is simply an exclusive figure. This particular one is exclusive to Target, at least in the US. DC Multiverse Batman. The package itself is defaced, kind of Jokerized. Here he is in the package. He has his Batarang with robe, 2 alternate hands, a few playing cards, a collector's card, a display stand for the collector's card, and a display stand for the figure. One side of the package, Batman from Batman The Dark Knight Returns crossed out. Other side simply says Batman. At the bottom, got a bunch of credits, and there's his barcode, in case it helps anybody. On the back side, you can see Batman. Big bruiser version from The Dark Knight Returns, all defaced and Jokerized. So no further ado, let's open it up. And of course, I did get 2 of these figures, one of which to open and enjoy, the other one to keep unopened in my complete, unopened Batman-related action figure collection. I'd also read that the packaging and the figure were reactive to blacklight, so I was curious how that works out. As you can see, belt's shining pretty good, the white part of the package sticking out, kind of cool. Side. Nothing super impressive there. We'll see how the figure looks in blacklight outside of the package. And here are all the different Jokerized Batman figures they've made so far. We have the Dark Knight Trilogy Jokerized Batman, the Dark Knight Returns Jokerized Batman, and then the Dark Detective Jokerized Batman. And if memory serves correct, the next Jokerized Batman is going to be the White Knight Batman. And here's this Dark Knight Returns Batman, next to both the regular version and the unpainted artist-proof Platinum Chase variant. 3 different variations of the same figure. Typical McFarlane. Alright, now that this figure out of the package, here he is with all his accessories laid out. He comes with quite a bit of unique cool stuff. We have the 4 different Jokerized playing cards. We have his collector's card, which is also Jokerized or defaced. We have the display stand for his collector's card, also defaced. We have the traditional McFarlane stand, which is painted unique for this figure. Then we have the Batarang with attached bat rope. And then 2 alternate hands, totaling 4 interchangeable hands. A lot of unique accessories. But before we take a look at those, let's check out the actual figure. This is going to be Batman from The Dark Knight Returns. Big, thick, older, bruiser-type Batman. But this is the Jokerized version. I don't think he's exactly infected, but that's actually probably what he is. Maybe this is an infected Jokerized Batman. He's going around defacing everything. I don't know, use your own imagination, whatever you want it to be. Could be just some corpse in a bat suit. That Joker toxin could be a million different things. Could just be a display piece. Kind of cool. We have the green eyes. Big red smile painted over his frowning face. You can see his teeth in there. Sculpt is pretty good. I always thought it was a good sculpt in this guy, but I wish he was a little bit bigger. Batman The Dark Knight Returns is enormous. He is a giant, and the figure is thick, but he's just not tall enough. Should be bigger. Giant, fat Dark Knight Returns style bat symbol on the chest, but it's done in purple. He has ha 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 all over his side. Giant utility belt, but it's done in neon green. More ha 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 on his leg, and his boot here. Double jointed knees. Looks like a single jointed elbow. Purple gloves, purple cowl, purple cape, green at the bottom, Jokerized indeed. And just a closer look at his face and head sculpt, we have that square jaw. He's got green eyes, yellow teeth, a big red smile painted over his growling and frowning face. Looks ridiculous. Kind of cool at the same time. Kind of dumb at the same time. I can definitely see it from both points of view. Another Jokerized Batman. I think in the long run, it might be pretty cool when you have a whole bunch of them lined up next to each other. And here's the figure, broken down as far as he can go, with all of his removable parts detached. And I want to give another shout out to somebody else. My boy Albert, who I met through my channel, and we chat on Instagram, he made this Joker diorama for me. Like I said before, the action figure community, super cool when you get connections out there. Now let's check out his accessories, and let's start off with the boring stuff. Here's a display stand. It's a typical McFarlane stand. It's a perfect circle, but normally they're completely black. This one is pink, green stripe, and then the green Dark Knight Returns bat signal in the middle. It's got one peg for the piggles on his feet. Very thin, very basic, but unique at the same time. Now for his collector's card and its display stand. We have this collector's card here. It's an image of Batman from the Dark Knight Returns, but it's got Joker letters and sort of defacing graffiti all over it. Batman, the Dark Knight Returns. On the back side, there is a description. If you want to read that, go ahead and pause now. In addition to that, we have this sort of holder for the collector's card. We've seen this a couple different times before with the King Shark figure gold label and with the previous Jokerized Dark Detective Batman. This one has a unique paint scheme. It's got X's all over it. It's green, dark green. It says DC. Here's a collector's card inside the display stand. Nice display piece. Could be pretty cool next to this Batman on the shelf. Here's this Dark Knight Returns Batman's collector card in the middle, next to the standard version on the left, and the Platinum Chase versions on the right. Now he also comes with these playing cards. I don't really know the significance of each individual card. Jack of Spades, 4 of Clubs, 4 of Diamonds, and then a 2 of Hearts. Each one of these cards is kind of defaced in its own. You can see the 2, Batman with Joker stuff on it. This one here says Gothic Knight, Batman, Kapow, and then of course we have the sort of Jack here, Batman symbol in green. On the back side it says DC Multiverse. Now the previous Jokerized Batman, the Dark Detective Batman, came with these cards: King of Hearts, Ace of Spades, 10 of Diamonds, and the Queen of Clubs. I wonder if we're going to be working toward an entire deck of Jokerized cards. Here are all 8 cards we have so far. No duplicates. The Dark Knight Trilogy Jokerized Batman didn't come with any cards, but from what it sounds like, there are going to be plenty of opportunities in the future. The White Knight Batman, the Tim Drake Red Robin, and I'm sure they could Jokerize damn near anything they put out so far. I'm actually surprised we're not building a Jokerized horse with this Batman. Now for his hands. He has a total of 4 of them, 2 left hands and 2 right hands. Here's Batman with his first pair of hands. These are his fists. And here he is with his other pair of hands. These are his gripping hands. Here's his Batarang with attached bat rope. It's all done in black, and I'm surprised it's not done in purple or green or something like that. We've got the Batarang here, rope here. It's got a little bit of bend to it, but it's not going to bendy wire. It's not going to take any different shapes. And then we have the rest of the rope sort of wrapped up here. Here's Batman holding that bat rope. Now let's check him out under black light, see how he reacts. Here he is under normal lighting, and here's his Batman under black light. The belt is the most noticeable thing, but the entire figure kind of reacts and looks pretty cool under black light. Now I want to check him out next to the standard version of the Dark Knight Returns Batman, and to see if there are any differences besides the obvious paint differences. And it looks like they are 100% the same figure, same exact sculpt, articulation, but a totally different paint job. 2 different heads here. They're both angry, sort of growling. You can see this Batman here, traditional black and gray. Of course, this one here is purple and gray with some neon green. Quite a bit of differences. A cool sculpt in the original figure, and then it's Jokerized and defaced in the second figure. Now they've taken a pretty good look at both the figure and his accessories. Now let's check out his height. From bottom to the top of his head, standing out right at 7 inches tall, which can translate to just under 18 centimeters. Now for his articulation. Starting with his head here, of course, you can rotate from side to side. You can look up, down, pretty decent amount. Tilt his head from one side to the other. Shoulders on a ball joint goes out more than 90 degrees. up, down, around, all that good stuff. He's got a butterfly joint between his shoulder and chest area, increase the range of motion, and cover the large gap that would be there. No bicep cut. Single jointed elbow goes in about 90 degrees with rotation. His wrists can rotate, and it's going to be hinged as well. His torso, he's got a ball joint, rotate around, forward and back. Another one is waist, rotate around, forward and back. Between the two, not a great range of motion. Legs, complete dozen splits, not a ball joint, McFarlane style hip joints. Rotation is very good actually, which is interesting because they also have a thigh cut, and to give a thigh cut that McFarlane almost never does on the figure that has arguably the most rotation on the thigh is very odd. Knees double jointed, go back that far. His ankle, forward and back, rotate, and then tilt rock. There's also articulation. Here's a look at this Batman holding his bat robe, standing on a rooftop overlooking the streets of Gotham. And here he is in full black light in front of this Joker diorama. And here's this Jokerized Batman from The Dark Knight Returns in the Batcave, standing in front of the Bat Tank. Now let's check him out next to some other action figures, starting off with some other McFarlane Jokerized figures. Here he is next to their first Jokerized figure. This is the Dark Detective Batman from Future State. Unique design, just like this Dark Knight Returns Batman. And here he is next to the Christian Bale Dark Knight Trilogy Jokerized Batman. This is definitely my least favorite of the three. Just looks kind of weird. And I know that's the point. Here are all of the Jokerized figures they've made so far. Dark Detective, Dark Knight Returns, and Dark Knight Trilogy. The next one, I believe, is supposed to be the White Knight Batman. And I've also read rumors of the Tim Drake Red Robin. And the truth is, they could take any Batman figure they've made so far, Jokerize it, easy re-release, gold label, and they'll probably sell out. Here's this Batman next to the infected Nightwing from Death of the Family. It's a Jokerized Nightwing of sorts, but not to the same extent as these figures. And then, next to the infected Superman and King Shazam the Infected. Not exactly Jokerized, as these had to do with the Batman Who Laughs, but they sure look like they're Jokerized to a point. Now let's check them out. Next to some other Batman the Dark Knight Returns figures. Here's the Jokerized Dark Knight Returns Batman, next to the standard version. And here, next to both the regular version and the unpainted artist-proof Platinum Chase variant. And here he is, next to 3 different variations of the armored Batman from the Dark Knight Returns. Here's McFarlane's entire Batman the Dark Knight Returns collection. There are a ton of different variants, but it's really just 4 characters. Batman, Superman, Robin, and the Joker. The most noticeable omission is the mutant leader. Hope they get around to making him in the near future. Here he is, next to the older DC Direct Batman the Dark Knight Returns Batman. Then, next to the Mattel version of Batman. And here he is, next to the Mezco 112 Collective Dark Knight Returns Batman. And finally, next to Mayfix's version of this Batman. Now let's check him out. Next to some other recently released McFarlane DC Multiverse figures. Here he is, next to the Jokerized Dark Knight Trilogy Batman. This is the only one I have from this wave so far. The Jokerized Joker is on the way, should have him in about 2 days. And they haven't actually officially revealed the Jokerized Two-Face or the Jokerized Scarecrow, and you need to get all 4 of those figures to collect and build the Jokerized Bane. It's annoying they aren't putting them all at the same time. These are both gold label Target exclusive figures. Let's continue to check them out next to some recent Target exclusive gold label figures. Here he is, next to the Yellow Lantern Sinestro Corps Batman. And here he is, next to the recent Target exclusive Flashpoint figures, Aquaman, Project Superman, and The Flash. I believe the next one is going to be an armored Wonder Woman, and then you'll collect to build a Cyborg from Flashpoint. Before that, they gave us the Flash War Impulse figure, and before that, they released the Target exclusive Jokerized Dark Detective Batman, and even earlier than that, they released the gold labeled Deadman figure. There have been a lot of other Target exclusives over the years, but these are the ones that came out in recent history. Here's this Batman, next to the Injustice 3-pack, Batman, Supergirl, Dr. Fate. As much as some people hate the repainted Jokerized stuff, they're not nearly as bad as this half-yellow Batman. And now, next to the Dark Knight's Metal, Alan Scott, Dread Lantern. Here's Batman, next to some recent Walmart exclusive gold label figures, we have the Vampire, Joker, Batman, and Superman, and then Captain Atom, Eradicator, and Beast Boy. And here he is, next to the goofy head sculpt Rebirth Superman versus Ultraman 2-pack. Then, next to the most recent Batman wave, we have the Nightfall Batman, Batman Incorporated Batwing, and the Batman Reborn Two Faces Batman. And now, next to the Big Bad Toy Store exclusive black and white accent Superman and Flash, here he is, next to a few McFarlane Toy Store exclusive gold label figures. We have Superman in his Unchained Armor, the Patina variant, Kyle Rayner as a Blue Lantern, and Dick Grayson Robin. And here he is, next to the 5th wave of Page Punchers. This is a Batman-themed wave, fighting the Frozen. We have Batman, Robin, Batgirl, and Mr. Freeze. There's a Platinum Chase variant to this Batgirl, and I'm hunting for a pair of her. And finally, next to the entire Flash movie wave. Now let's check him out, next to some action figures from different various companies, so we can see how he fits in, both scale and style-wise, in case you'll know which lines you can mix him with. Since he's a McFarlane toy, they're typically the 7-inch scale. I'm going to start off my comparisons with some of the larger action figure lines I collect, and work my smaller. But first, let's check him out with some of his McFarlane Toys brothers. In front of you are 5 different action figure lines, all from McFarlane Toys, all 7-inch scale. Then, with some more McFarlane toys, these are from different various video game properties. And now, with some Jack-specific wrestling figures, here's this Batman, next to the box cutter I opened his package with. And here he is, next to some DST or Diamond Select toys. Then, next to some DC Direct and DC Collectibles figures. And here he is, standing with some NECA figures. Then, with some Mattel wrestling figures. And now, with some Jazzwares AEW wrestlers. And here he is, next to some Mezco 112 collective figures. Then, with some Mattel DC Universe Classics and Multiverse figures. And here he is, next to some Makefix figures. Then, with some Hasbro Marvel Legends. And here he is, next to some SH Figure Arts action figures. And finally, next to some Jazzwares Fortnite figures. So overall, it's a cool figure, but is it necessary? I would say no, it's a pointless figure. Don't get me wrong, the blacklight effect's cool. The paint job, it pops, looks good, it's visually pleasing and interesting. But it's just a figure nobody really needs. Yes, I love the variants, I'm a sucker for Batman figures, I'm a completist, but the average person is going to turn their nose up at this thing, and I completely understand why. If I wasn't getting all the different McFarlane figures and all the different Batman figures out there, I would have real no interest in this. I will never actually use this in my practical action figure photography or in collecting, just for comparisons. He doesn't really have a place in my Gotham City and Batman universe, as, I mean, you're not going to get a Batman Jokerized version running around Gotham doing a bunch of weird stuff, but it does look cool. They achieved what they were going for. If I were to rate this figure, I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. Mainly, it looks good, but it's just totally unnecessary. And it looks like we're going to get a shit ton of these things moving forward. If you do the math, 4 playing cards per figure, it's going to take 13 figures to make the whole deck. And they're not giving us any playing cards with the Dark Knight Trilogy wave. So we're going to have a ton of Jokerized figures when this is all said and done. So this is D Hunter. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you liked the video, press like below. If you have anything you want to say about the video, add it to the comment section. If you want to see additional action figure reviews from me, press subscribe. I do appreciate when you do that. Once again, this is D Hunter. Thank you guys for watching this video, and I'll talk to you guys real soon.